Asahi to close its doors in Killala after 20 years, more than 300 jobs to go. The tribunal hears details of the complex money trail that led from Bendon to Charles Haughey. NATO gets tough with suspected Serb war criminals. One man is shot dead. In Belfast, 1,000 people protest on the Ormeau against the planned 12th parade. Good evening and welcome. The Japanese-owned Asahi factory in Killala in County Mayo is to close, with the loss of more than 300 jobs. The company said the plant had lost more than £50 million since it began operating 20 years ago. It also said the decision had been taken by the parent firm following the rejection of a management buyout plan by the workforce. SIP2, the company's biggest union, has been strongly critical of Asahi for refusing to attend a labour court hearing scheduled for tomorrow afternoon.
They left in a summer downpour this evening, facing the bleakest of futures. These Asahi workers had just been told their jobs will no longer exist come Christmas. And as they sprinted to their cars, they were still trying to come to terms with the shocking finality of what had happened.
20 years I'm with the company now. I came from England. I worked with Courthouse before I came here. And 20 years this next October. And I feel very sad.
300 people here, and the locality is just devastated. The town of Ballina and the town of Killala will be shattered, and that is the truth. It's a bad, black day for the area. Very black day for the area.
The devastating announcement that the plant is to close down within a matter of months was described by the company as a sad but necessary decision. It said it had been arrived at with profound sadness, given Asahi's 20-year-long association with this country. Nevertheless, it was now being forced to begin an orderly and immediate wind-up of its operations here in Killala.
I am absolutely heartbroken, totally heartbroken. We've been 11 months trying to make a future for here. A lot of our managers and our colleagues supported strongly. The unions made a valiant effort over the last week or two. I'd like to thank them. I'd like to thank the people who supported it through voting positively. But unfortunately, we failed to do it.
And why did you finally decide to close down the plant?
Well, Asahi Chemical Industry Company Japan decided that they would implement a closure decision made 2 years ago. I must emphasize that it was made 2 years ago. They decided to implement it now because they judged that the management buyout project would not be successful in view of developments here over the last several days.
In terms of future negotiations, I accept the position of the Japanese, as stated here today, and I'm not going to pretend that there's a show that can go on or charade that will make any difference to that. However, in terms of the negotiations on the orderly wind-down, we obviously have issues in relation to workers' welfare, which we will take care of in the coming weeks. It is also my intention to cooperate fully and help in any way the IDA, who will be seeking, I am sure, alternative investment in this site.
But for many of the older workers leaving the plant tonight, there was the very real fear that they may never again draw a wage packet. And there were concerns too for the economy of the entire North Mayo region.
It's more than the 315 people. It's much more. We hear thunder here in the background, but it's much more than the 315 people that are affected. If you take an average, there's 3 in each of those families. We're talking about 1,000 people and all the spin-off industry. We're not going to take this lying down, and the Ballina Urban Council will head a protest on this one. I can guarantee that.
The Taoiseach and Minister for Enterprise and Employment, Mary Harney, has said she's setting up a task force in the aftermath of the closure of the factory. It will look at prospects for keeping it going as a synthetic fibres plant and will deal with retraining the workforce.
The task force will be chaired by the county manager, and other members will include SIP2's organiser and a shop steward, the manager of the Asahi plant, and Bishop Thomas Finnegan. It will seek fresh foreign investment and help workers in setting up their own businesses. The Taoiseach said she regretted the closure, but wasn't in the business of allocating blame.
Enormous efforts were made by the development agencies, both the IDA and Ferbert, and indeed by the company itself over the last number of months. Clearly this is a very uncompetitive business, and the parent company in Japan had made a decision to withdraw from certain segments of the market, including the operation at Asahi and Killala. And the only option really was for a management buyout, and the company were very supportive of that, and were very disappointed that that option wasn't agreed to by the workers. So I made enormous efforts last night. I met the vice president of the company together with Minister of State Kitt, and unfortunately, despite all the efforts, the company is now closing, and I regret that very much because it's a devastating blow for Killala and North Mayo in particular.
But with 300 workers facing the dole tonight, Mayo TD Enda Kenny of Fine Gael says he believes the plant can still be saved. He wants Mary Harney to continue her efforts.
She must speak to management in Asahi at the very highest level and travel to Tokyo if necessary. She's got to explain to them the track record of the Labour Relations Commission in this country in dealing with very similar disputes, and she's got to make them understand the very finely balanced vote which actually took place. So I believe that the plant can be saved.
The complex financial transaction